Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's start this video from the good news coming from the front lines, especially from the Kupiansk region where Ukraine started the counteroffensive. And this one is really a successful one, so when we check the data, it was yesterday and it is today. Russians were repelled from the wide area in the forest. The Ukrainian armed forces went forward by at least 2 of the kilometers, it's roughly 1.6 miles. Yes, as we see in this area, there are no settlements, almost, just a small village over here. I didn't know the name of it, probably just a local Dutch area where people usually go for weekends, just to spend the time near the river and the nature. Well, at least it was like that before the war had started. So what does it mean for us? That Ukraine has the resources for those actions, and also Ukraine has the supply connections via Kupiansk, so still there is the bridge, which is fine, which Russia hesitates to bomb because they want to advance from this side to Kupiansk in the future. They think like that. But Russians cut 2 of the bridges, one in Sadovo and one from Osinovo in this area. But Ukraine also may use some of the military pontoon bridges because in some of the areas the Oskil River is not that wide. So in this sector we see the successful Ukrainian army in 2 of the spots. So those attacks were made by Ukraine to distract the Russian actions because Russia was quite successful before in advancing towards Kupiansk direction and also moving from this area. Plus, for the last few months, Russians definitely managed to reach this river in this spot, and as Putin said, Russia trapped the Ukrainian group thousands of soldiers in Kupiansk direction, which is not true because there is the supply line, so the forces here are not trapped, they continue to perform their tasks. Even though, yes, the situation is not that bright, you can see this big pocket, but the pocket is really big and there are multiple of the choices of how to leave this area in the worst case scenario. By the way, guys, there are also not some good news coming from the front lines, but I usually do not tell about those at the very beginning of the video. This is the military map update from the Micro Center 3 from the same area. The name of the village that I showed to you is Kalesnikivka. And as you can see, Russia continued to lose many of the armored vehicles, tanks, wherever. The question goes is whether Ukraine will be able to get Kalesnikivka under control and propel even further, because this is the very critical road for Russia to advance. It was a fresh update, so for example on 3D map you will not see it for now, but definitely Ukraine took this forest under control. From terrain and tactical perspective, this achievement is really great, and maybe Ukraine has the chances to go further, first of all to this settlement. But the Russians control the key settlement Kurakhivka, and this bridge, I guess it also was kaboom. So Russians aren't able to cross into Sankovo. It would be awesome if Ukraine started the offensive from the flanks to cut the Russian army in Kurakhivka, but Ukraine doesn't have enough resources. Well, there was the disaster of 2 of the Russian oil tankers not far away from the Kerch Bridge in the Azov Sea. Russian oil tankers severely damaged in the Black Sea storm, causing oil spill, so it's also the nature of disaster as we see. By the way, guys, we are on the ground news, a platform that constantly supports my job, so I highly recommend you to subscribe for the ground news. You might use my personal link ground.news/Dennis. What we see here that the record number of the sources report about it, more than 300. So we have the general topic, the brief explanation here, the bias distribution, as you can see it's almost equal. The factuality report, which I like, it's the high factuality news because we have the video evidence. We're gonna look through those videos a little later, and here you can see the news origin, basically a map. And let's see what, for example, Kyiv Post says about the stuff. 2 Russian oil tankers sank in the Kerch Strait, 1 sailor dead, other missing. The tankers belong to Volga-Neft, so Volga-Neft 212 and Volga-Neft 239 tankers gone. In this case it wasn't a drone attack or something, it was just the stormy weather, but those tankers are just damn old. And what Russian government affiliated news said about the case, the prosecutor office began an inspection after the tanker crash in the Kerch Strait, but the Russian system works with bribes, they will not find out anything. Russia is under the sanctions and they have the problem with the new tankers, so they use the old ones. The same goes for the aircraft, by the way. So Lenta.ru is the government affiliated media, and they say that there were roughly 29 people on board of 2 of the ships. Yeah, Russia used some of the helicopters, but the casualty was reported. The ownership of the media presenting the information will make it clear for you of what media source you may really trust, and you may also compare the information coming from different sources and make your own conclusion based on that. And that's what I'm doing on this channel, by the way. I'm getting information from different other sources and presenting it for you. If you subscribe with my link ground.news/Dennis, you'll get 50% off Vantage plan. That's what I personally use to get the unlimited access to all of the features of the platform. This is their biggest sale of the year, so you may subscribe for it or give it to someone you know. I think that the team of the Ground News are doing fantastic and important job. It is not a big mainstream media corporation, so they rely on our subscriptions and our support. So I hope you check my personal link in the video description just below. Ground News, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. And those are the videos shown from the place. As you can see, here's the nose of the ship. Basically, both of the ships were wrecked somewhere in the middle. Other sailors nearby also filmed the crack of the ship and how it started to sink down. Well, actually, there were two of the ships which sank down, and I have the mark just for Volga Neft 212, which was circling in this thunderstorm and finally found its rest. Obviously, it creates some sort of the natural disaster for the Azov region because of the Russia and their old fleet. My friend, who is the vessel captain Timur Rudov, by the way, he is now somewhere in the ocean, tells me that the main problem of the Azov Sea that it's not very deep, especially in the port area, so not all of the tankers are capable to dock there. But Russia uses Azov Sea to transport oil, grains, and so on. Also, the part of the grains have been stolen from Ukraine via Azov Sea. So the demand here is very high, but there are not enough ships able to carry those loads. But those vessels like River-C may do it. The problem that they are not really robust in the stormy condition and they're very old, so the cases like that could happen. My friend Timur says that it happens almost every season that the storm weather comes. Alright guys, again we have the report about the North Korean soldiers deployed against the Ukrainian army in the Kursk region. The information about it massively shared from the Ukrainian sources and also from some of the Ukrainian commanders, like for example Magyar. And there were definitely some of the videos published of the captured North Korean soldiers, but I cannot show them to you on this platform because we have censorship. But again, from all of those videos, still I cannot identify that 100% those are North Koreans. Yes, our commanders in the place and drone operators are sure that those are North Koreans, and I also tend to believe it, but for 100% we need the real evidence like documents, particular guy who is imprisoned or zeroed, but the body is captured, for example, by Ukrainian side. So I would wait for that confirmation to state 100% that there are North Koreans fighting against Ukrainians. Yes, according to the logic, if they are deployed there, we saw the image before, which I showed you in my last video, of them actually being serving in the Kursk region, but again, we need the real evidence confirmation. And even if it is true, the North Koreans for now were deployed just in the Kursk region. It is not a nuclear kaboom, but it's Israeli army which hit a very big ammunition depot somewhere in Tartus, the place of the Russian Navy port. Well, the Russian base itself wasn't hit, but there was the ammunition warehouse. And as you can see, definitely it is huge, and I'll post many more pictures on my Telegram channel. You may see those traces just after kaboom. It means that there is the rocket fuel. Kadyrov cries again, there is the drone which hit one of the facilities in Grozny city. A military facility, obviously it was the same barrack camp of the Akhmat Amon Spetsnaz battalion as the last time. I already know this area because of the buildings nearby. We have the very close proximity image from this side. The full video again is on my Telegram. I cannot post it over here, guys, sorry. This is the Ukrainian drone Airpract A-22 Foxbat, which is regularly a manned flying vehicle but was converted to the drone for this particular purpose. Well, the thing here that probably it aimed towards this building but missed a little and hit between the buildings to the fence. So yes, there was kaboom, but with just minor damages. I would say that it missed just for a few feet. But the thing, the drone covered that long distance over the Russian territory, which is quite populated over here, and wasn't shot down by the Russian air defense, well, it's astonishing. And it's not the first time that the drone hits particular facility in Russia, because yes, Chechnya for now is still the part of the Russian Federation. A big success for Ukraine in Zaporizhia direction, far behind the front lines. There was the sabotage done down to the Russian fuel train, which was delivering some of the diesel fuel to the Russian military brigades. The train was carrying around 40 of the tanks, then the big kaboom happened and the train is no more. There are just two ways of how Ukraine could do it. The first is the good old partisan tactics with some people planting something to the rails, or the other thing, which is now very popular, is the drone mining. So drone drops of the small mines, which actually cause some of the devastation. And to check it out, let's watch the video presented by Magyar. This is the Ahmad armored vehicle, some sort of the MRAP, which Russia uses there. Well, the first vehicle was kaputted by the FPV drone, but the second one tried to go through this part of the road and it hit the mines. The mines which were planted by the drones. And here you go, the vehicle was stopped, crew immediately left it, and later on with the help of the standard drone drops, the infantry was zeroed. But you know what? Russians sent the third Ahmad vehicle. And here is the destiny of it. Again, it hit some of the mines planted by the drones. And the thing that those vehicles which were kaboomed before also blocked the way for the future Russian attacks. I mean, you cannot proceed with the ordinary Ahmad through those bushes. You need to have at least BMP or tank, and there also could be some of the mines. It's some sort of the new tactics which I see that Ukraine uses now, and it's very effective. So during the night time there will be more mines planted in this area, and the result of the future Russian attacks will be the same. So Russians will have to waste more of their army men, vehicles and so on to penetrate this Ukrainian defense. Actually, there is no one in the trenches or something, but Russians cannot proceed just because of the drones. So drones for Ukraine really matter. And now guys, not to the good news. Velika Novosilka, there is the hotspot over here, Makharovka. Basically, Ukrainian troops here were trapped recently. It was yesterday, it is today. By the way, it was the day before yesterday. And by the time I told, but I have just a fraction of the information which is available for Ukrainian military command. But I've told that it's better to use this route to leave Makharovka for Ukrainian army. Then it happened like that, and today it's like that. So it's already the same situation as it happened in Kharkiv direction a couple of days ago. It means that the Ukrainian army has to penetrate the encirclement through the gray area with heavy losses. There is simply no other way they can withdraw, just maybe during the night time they may try to do it. But you know that our enemy has lots of the tools, like for example thermal cameras. They also have many of the FPV drones. So this situation should have never ever happened, but as you see, it happened. And as for me, this is the very strange move from the Ukrainian military command to keep the forces until they're encircled. For what? Why do we need this sacrifice for nothing? Like, why not to withdraw the forces over here? Then the situation was like that, and to create some sort of the defense near Neskuchna. Why do you need to stay in the pockets all the time? Yeah, I understand that Russia did it. They are creating those pockets for Ukrainian army, but Ukrainian army just went into it. You know that I'm reviewing this war for already many of the years, but stuff like that happened really rarely. But now we see that it happens very often, and it's not because Russia came out with some sort of the new solution. No, they attack with the same old tactics. But the problem here in those situations lies only with the Ukrainian military command, which is quite incompetent, or they work for Russia. I mean, not the entire Ukrainian military command, but the persons responsible for this area. Also, north from Velika Novosilka, Russia advanced. Finally, yesterday in my video I've told you about the big Russian convoy, and definitely today we have the confirmation that Russians used many of the BMPs, at least 9, and a single Hunger tank, and they managed to push Ukraine out, crossing this way for Ukrainian supplements. Yes, before it was the Ukrainian counterattack, which was successful, but now Russia retook the ground which they took before, like 1 week ago or something. And who is responsible for defense? Why there were not enough FPV drones to stop this Russian assault? The same commander who is responsible for the encirclement southbound. And the MyCo73 analytic also shares his data with the confirmation that Makharovka is being taken in a clouds by Russia. Moreover, Russia advances here from the north towards Neskuchna, exactly as I said to you yesterday, that they'll do this maneuver, trying to cut Zaporizhia as well from the supplies. And for this reason, there could be 2 of the traps, one in Makharovka and the other one in this settlement. And the Russians have already crossed the river in this place, and they're ready to join their forces over here. And if we check the situation in the east in Kharkiv direction and Pokrovsk direction, it's not that great. Today Russia also advanced towards Zelenivka in this place, so it was yesterday, it is today. The destiny of the Ukrainian armed forces, which were encircled in Hanivka and Uspenivka, is yet unknown, but we see that Russia expanded the gray zone, so for our guys, I guess it's finally impossible to cross this gray area because it's very wide, very long, and Russia, as we see, advances from this area too. So here we have a bad situation also probably over here, but yes, Ukraine withdraws the forces probably in this area, so we'll see how Russia takes those fields fully under control very soon. I haven't got the reports about the Ukrainian army encirclement in Sosnivka, no. Also, Russia is very close to Pokrovsk. They're heading towards Dachinsk, yes, so it was yesterday, it is today. They've took this part, maybe some sort of the agriculture infrastructure, and the gray area expanded to all of this small settlement. Yes, it is small, but at the same time it's important because there is the main road which goes to Pokrovsk. And this big road actually connects Dnipropetrovsk Oblast with Donetsk Oblast. You can see it's very big. It's the strategic one. So soon we're gonna see the battle for Pokrovsk, as Russians say they want to take the city till the new year, but I don't think so. No, it's impossible. But judging on the Russian assaults this winter, I think that they will take Pokrovsk. Alright, and now to some of the political news. Those could be also interesting, and there is being trap created for Ukraine, not on the front lines, but a diplomatic one. A Hungarian foreign minister Syria said that there was the proposal on table that has not been there for the past 1000 days. So one side, Russian Putin, finds it acceptable, but the other rejects it. Ukraine. Moreover, Kiev refused to hold telephone talks with Orban to discuss Ukraine-Russia peace agreement. Probably it was the proposal of the ceasefire for the Christmas, something like that. The full details of the Orban's proposal is still hidden behind the political curtains. But here we see the game between Hungarian Prime Minister and Putin to show that Russia is ready to negotiate, but Ukraine isn't. We know that there are quite good relations between Donald Trump and Orban. Trump refers to Orban in many of the occasions, especially when he speaks about the European policy, so he actually might listen to Orban's opinion, which is totally dependent on the interests of Russia and China first of all. And the goal for Orban is to show that Ukraine is not accepting any sort of the peace deals with Russia. That it's better to follow the Trump's ideas to stop the military support for Ukraine, to push Ukraine for some certain negotiations which are not profitable for Ukraine at all. I think that Russia mainly bets on that. First of all, they need to stop the military support of Ukraine, especially by the United States of America. Well, I think that after all, Ukraine should play this game, not rejecting Orban completely, just applying its own interests to the possible deal, because this game is like a game with the fire. We know that Donald Trump is a really unpredictable leader, and he might be influenced also by the other opinion, especially from the people or leaders whom he in a way trusts, like Viktor Orban. Donald Trump before said lots of the good stuff about this particular politician. So Ukraine should be ready for this massive pressing. Also, the similar stuff is coming from Pope Francis, who prayed for Russians and Ukrainians, simultaneously calling us brothers, which is absolutely complete nonsense, especially judging on the current events happening in Ukraine. Ukraine didn't attack its neighbor, but so-called brothers attack Ukraine each day using missiles, devastating Ukrainian villages, towns and cities, and this guy is praying for them. Guys, recently I got this video in recommendations, the video from this channel, by the way, why I didn't subscribe, so I subscribe for it. I also recommend for you to do it. So Task and Purpose, a YouTuber with many of the followers, subscribers. The guy's name's Chris, and he went to the war zone. He's American, he's a veteran of Iraqi war. And not just he visited Ukrainian front lines, but he went to the Russian territory of Kursk, where the most capable Ukrainian brigades are serving on the Western-made vehicles, like for example Strikers. And Chris also used to serve on Strikers. So why am I saying about it? Because this video is the masterpiece. I have never seen such a level of the military correspondence from their own experience in military done by any sort of the YouTuber or even journalist. Well, if I speak about English speakers, right? He spoke with the Ukrainian military, with the Russian civilians in the place. He reviewed everything from the different aspects. So it's my absolute recommendation to check Chris and his channel. Yes, his channel is quite popular. I believe that many of you already subscribe for Kris and watch his videos. And also I like his general conclusion which he took based on his previous war experience in Iraq and what he witnessed visiting the front lines of Kursk. So yes, I'm impressed a lot. And also guys, please don't forget to check out the sponsor of this video, of this channel actually, Ground News. Because of them, this job that I do almost daily is possible. And for now, my friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.